Well, it's a kind of a gray day on this Thursday in April, but I'm over at the bright house of Mel and Charlotte Van Dyke. They live in Grouse Point, and they're neighbors, almost neighbors of the Allards. And at one point, I think the Dillons used to live here,
They did.
and now I think Holly.
Holly Dillon is here.
Holly
and
lives there.
Sandy and Carol come up quite often to,
Yeah.
well, they sometimes take care of the cat, only I think they, just go to visit the house, unlike us.
And I had remembered I had visited once shortly after you got back from Florida and had eye surgery, but you reminded me that we had dinner here.
You did.
And
yeah.
I'm sure it was a delicious meal.
I think it was with the,
Was it with the Hutchins, maybe?
yes, very good.
Yeah.
Names are escaping me sometimes.
So you weren't able to go to Florida this winter. What was it like to be stuck up here?
I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. I enjoyed the snow and so forth. Can't go skiing anymore, but it was enjoyable. It wasn't a bad winter as far as that goes.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
And both of you were at church on Sunday. I didn't notice the mustache on Mel because he had a mask on, of course.
Yeah.
But they've both been vaccinated.
We
and
have.
What vaccine did you have?
Moderna.
And how any reaction to that?
None at all.
I had Moderna too, and
Did you?
my left shoulder was slightly sore the first time, and the second time, nothing, it was just perfect.
Mine was just the reverse of that.
No, it was very easy.
Yeah, and for me, it was really an emotional experience. Kind of a get out of jail free card.
Yes, I can appreciate that. Because at Christmas time, we didn't get to, some of our family got together, and they were going to get together in Maine, and they wanted us to come. And I go, I'm not a real scaredy cat, but with all the health issues that Mel's had, I just felt like maybe we better stay home. All four of them got COVID. All the adults. The
Yep.
children did not. And when I say children, they're pretty old children.
Yeah, we saw our kids, our kids with our grandkids probably a year ago in May, and then not till we had been vaccinated a couple of weeks ago we made a quick trip down there. So we
Yay.
missed Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Yeah,
and Easter.
we missed Thanksgiving, Christmas, yeah. But Easter we got together, yeah, because we'd had our vaccine.
Yep, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So.
And where in Florida do you call home?
It's Venice,
Venice?
just south of Tampa, or Sarasota. Yeah, it's
And how long have you had a place there?
since 2004.
Going on, 17 years.
Yeah.
And speaking of 2004, that's the year you joined the church.
Is that right?
Yes. The Viscals also joined that year.
Okay.
And so how did you come to the Guilford Community Church?
Uh,
You made a wrong turn one day and
well,
No.
we were living over
On Governor's.
Governor's
Yep.
Island.
Oh, beautiful house.
Yeah, and then we had been going to the Lutheran church.
No, the Congregational,
Oh yeah, Congregational.
downtown.
And I don't know, we decided to try Guilford, and you sold us.
Yeah, we liked it. We felt more comfortable in Guilford Community Church.
Yeah, it's a great little
I have a
place.
friend that's still a little annoyed that we left the Congregational Church. And she's, I can't understand why. I go, what can I say?
Well, we're glad you did. We don't encourage stealing sheep, but we're glad you wandered over to our pastures.
Yes, yeah.
So tell me, Mel, where did you work?
I had my own business. I originally was employed by one company selling stabilizers for the dairy industry, and they gave us a chance to go manufacturer's rep, which I did, and I ended up representing about 8 different companies for the same customer. And I covered upstate New York and New England. I started in 1961 and met Charlotte in 65. We got married in 65.
Met
In
in
the s-
64.
And we were living over in Scotia, New York. And in 78, I said, New Hampshire has very low taxes, and I can be home more. And so we left the glorious state of New York for the wonderful state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, I was all for it. I mean, if he could be home more.
Yeah.
Because we had 3 children and he was missing everything.
Yeah. So when you moved, did you move right to Governor's Island?
No.
No, we moved to Bedford, New Hampshire.
Okay. Well, that's a beautiful little community.
That was in 78.
We built a house long distance,
Yeah,
right?
right. That's an adventure. And then in 94, well, actually 1980, we bought a condo up in the lake in Guilford. In fact, somebody from, used to be Gordy Weymouth.
Oh yeah, Gordy, what a great guy.
Yeah, he used to live there. And then in 94, we bought a place in Governor's Island and tore a cottage down and built a nice house, unlike the monuments they're building now. And Charlotte got on my back about, it was very lonely in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't started going away.
And so we sold the place, and then we had to hurry up and buy something. I didn't expect it to sell at the time. I had it for sale for a couple of years. And
The guy from Cincinnati bought it, didn't he?
yeah,
Yeah, I remember Dick Peterson.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
he lived in it all of 2 weeks
Yeah.
before he died.
Oh,
Well, he
oh.
must have had mega bucks. He installed the lighting for like sports and stuff. You can imagine that had to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Charlotte, where did you work?
I was a nurse,
Yep.
and the first few years I stayed home because Mel traveled. In those days, we didn't have daycare
Yep.
and all that, so I stayed home. And then once Karen, the youngest daughter, or youngest child, when she got to be in kindergarten, I took a refresher course. And then I went to work at Catholic Medical Center in the telemetry and step down from cardiac. And I worked there part-time for 5 years. And then I got tired of weekends and holidays. Because you always had to do 2 holidays out of the major 3. You had to do every other weekend. And he'd come home on the weekends. So I said, I got to have a job in an office someplace. So anyway, my last job was with an allergist asthma specialist. I was there about 14 years with him in Manchester and loved it. Loved the patients and loved it.
And what year did you retire?
About 2002, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you never really retired for years.
No, I always kept a little bit of my finger in it a little bit.
So you had moved to Governor's Island before you retired, so you were still working when you moved there.
Yeah.
And when you moved up here, did you immediately join Laconia Country Club?
We joined over when we were
Yeah,
over
we
in,
did. And Governor's
on
Island.
Governor's Island.
Yeah. That's a beautiful course. Is it open yet?
It opens Friday.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Welcome to the snow, right?
Probably easy to get a tea time tomorrow. That's a beautiful course, and you've treated me to a round or two. I haven't played golf in about 12 years.
That long?
Yeah,
Since
it's
you've
been a
over
long
there?
time.
Wow.
Yeah. Then, Charlotte, where did you grow up?
I grew up in central New York, and near Syracuse, a little town called Canastota. And I went to college at Russell Sage College, which is in Troy, New York, and got my BS in nursing. And then I worked at the Veterans Hospital for a couple of years, and by that time I'd gotten married and was pregnant, and I stopped working.
And Mel, you grew up in New York as well, but how did you end up?
I grew up in New Jersey.
New Jersey. But you ended up at Idaho? Is that where you went to college?
University of Idaho.
University of Idaho. How did that happen?
Well, I got out of service, and a friend of mine from high school got
What
out.
branch of the service?
I was in the Army.
Okay.
And during Korea.
Mm.
Yeah. After I got back from Korea, I bumped into an old classmate of mine. He was out of service at the time. He had gone in the Marines, and we palled around that summer. I was commuting back and forth from Fort Devens. And he said to me, well, why do you want to go back to being a plumber? And he said, well, you got the GI Bill. Well, he talked me into it. And actually there were 3 of us that left Wyckoff and went out to Idaho.
Oh, good for you.
And we all graduated in '59.
What did you study?
Dairy technology.
Mm-hmm.
And graduated in '59. I took a job with Safeway stores in Washington, D.C., and then was transferred up to Englewood, New Jersey. It was a step up, and I got sick of the job and started looking around, and actually I resigned. And started looking around. A couple months later, I made a contact through my connections and started working for Germantown.
And have you been back to Idaho since you graduated?
Oh, my
Several
goodness.
times. In fact, we are going back this fall.
You are. Watch a football game, I presume?
Yeah, but we could bring the whole family out.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So you have 3 children, 3 adult children. And I saw a picture of your son, Mark. Tell us about his adventure.
Well, he and his partner they're out of jobs right now.
And they live in Boston.
They live in Boston, plus they owned a number of apartments in addition to their jobs. And like Mark's job, it ended up that if he'd go to Philadelphia, he still had the job. He was in downtown Boston, and he actually loved it. But, with this COVID, these companies, they put everything at home and pretty soon decided they didn't need to keep any business there, that they could do it back in their home. And Kurt had a good job too, and anyway, they kind of floundered around and said it was something they'd always wanted to do, and that they'd keep looking for jobs, but they could do it, most of their work they do on a computer anyway, you can do it anywhere. And they sold one of their homes, right?
Triple decker.
They're selling it's unbelievable what they're getting down there.
Oh, isn't it unreal?
It's unreal.
My daughter lives in Malden. She has a house that's almost 100 years old, 1,400 square feet, and someone offered her $600,000 to buy a tiny house, and but she couldn't afford to buy. She'd have to buy a $700,000 house.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It's very difficult. I mean, they made a very nice profit on this house, and
they were offered in one day. It was on the market, and they were offered $30,000 over the asking price.
Unbelievable, huh?
And I mean, I look at those places and I go,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them.
well, when I first came up to this area in 1960, I mean, you couldn't give those places away as triple deckers.
Yeah.
Now the young people want to be in the city.
So he's off on an adventure traveling the country in an RV.
In an RV, yeah. He's off tomorrow, and
You have the cat?
We have the cat.
And the cat has a name?
Ace.
Ace.
Ace, yeah. Ace is a good boy, and I don't mind taking care of him. You don't really either. And they will leave, and they plan to be back in August.
Wonderful.
So.
And so you have 2 other kids?
Yeah, we have a daughter, Susan, and she and her husband, Frank, live over in Falmouth, Maine.
Okay.
And Susan is the financial officer for a big law firm there. They have a law firm in Manchester, New Hampshire, right? And
Excuse me.
she's happy with her job, and Frank works for IDEX. He works at home, and they're both happy with that. They have 2 sons. Christopher and Andrew. Andrew graduated from Adelphi, and he is working down on Long Island. And he's our would-be actor. But so far, of course, there's no acting going on. So he's working at one of those big stores. I can't think of the name of it. And Christopher flunked out of Purdue, and not that he wasn't bright enough, he didn't bother to go to school. So he's doing basically the same thing
Same
in
job
Maine.
without a college education.
So his father goes, "Oh, we got 2. One graduated from college doing the same thing as the one that didn't." So, but they're great great young men, they really are. And then there's Karen, and Karen's birthday and her daughter Emma are both on the same day, their birthdays. But we met Karen up in
Yesterday.
yesterday in North Conway and had lunch with Karen.
And she lives where?
She lives in Bridgeton, Maine, and she's happily married to the Jeep.
Well, they have her husband has a franchise for Chrysler.
Yeah. So she's having a grand time.
And she has one child?
No, there's another who
Okay.
is Elizabeth, and Elizabeth goes to St. Anselm's.
Well, she'll graduate this year.
She's
Oh,
graduating
wonderful.
in nursing, and we're thrilled.
Yeah.
You know.
She's talking about taking a job out in Colorado.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh, and Emma's going to go to Catholic University.
Oh, in Washington.
She's been accepted there. She wants to go into the FBI, which,
What?
if you could see Emma, well, I can't show you. So I gotta sit here. Emma's just a little pint.
Huh.
she's 5 foot tall and all maybe 100 pounds.
Maybe, I doubt it. But anyway.
Oh, that's great though.
Yeah. Well, we tease because Karen went to St. Michael's College. Nobody goes to church but us. And I said, what's the deal with all these Catholic schools? Which I never really got an answer from.
Well, they're good schools though.
That is true, and they tend to be a more moderate price.
Yes.
And also, unlike like the Ivies and stuff, you got to be really top notch to
Yeah.
get in some of those places.
Yeah.
These are more middle of the road type of colleges. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can graduate without owing $200,000 in
Right.
tuition debt. So.
Right.
Well, not really these days, but their tuition has gone up quite a bit. Unfortunately, Emma did get a sizable scholarship at
Catholic University.
Catholic University.
Mm.
I helped them all out financially
Yeah.
when they were in college.
The last stint that I did in seminary was at Wesley, which abuts Catholic University.
Oh, so you're familiar with that
Yes.
area.
And I once locked my keys in the car, and I had to have a policeman from Catholic University help me
Oh.
open it.
Well, it looks like it's like this rural
It's a beautiful area.
campus.
That area of Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
is beautiful.
in the middle of this big city.
What is that, Northwest?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the wealthier part of
Yeah.
the city.
Yeah, it was a beautiful area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're familiar. Yeah.
But like Baltimore, you go a couple streets over, and you think you might be in the third world.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Baltimore's been that way for a long time. Much worse, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, much
but
worse, yeah.
Well, that's where you were a
Yep.
minister in Baltimore,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Unfortunately, too many cities are that way.
It's a shame the cities, really.
Yeah. So what have you been doing to kind of keep yourself in great shape like you're both in, and maintaining a sense of sanity during this whole past year?
I was very busy visiting doctors.
Yes.
I like what you said about your mom. What did she say about the doctor?
She said that once they got you, they never let you go. And I thought that was so funny and so ridiculous. And now she's right. I mean, you look at our calendar, it's doctor this one, doctor, especially this guy. And then I had an ankle fusion. And so I've had, it's still not in great shape. It's a little disappointing. I have days when it hurts a lot still, and I'm like, oh, all I've gone through with it.
Wow.
But
Will you be able to golf this summer?
I'm going to try. Pat Visco's made a tea time for Tuesday, and I'm going to give it a whirl.
And how about you, Mel?
I'll play Tuesday with the senior group over there.
And who do you usually play with? You have a partner?
No, not really partners. There's probably about 25 of us, and they block out a tea time for us, and we draw cards as to whom we're going to play with. It's a big betting deal, $5. And you can't win more than 15, so it's we have a lot of fun.
That's great. You can't lose more than 5, and you can't win more than 15. I could play that game.
Yeah, right. Well, even mine, Carolyn Scattergood plays with us too.
Oh, she's a good
Of course,
golfer, huh?
Yeah, not like she used to be, but she certainly is better than Pat or I are. But she seems to, you get to be our age, you kind of run out of people.
Yeah.
But she's been a delight to She just celebrated her 80th birthday. We had a
Wow.
little party the other day.
Ah, neat.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting back to me, I had 89 good years. And a week after my 89th birthday, I had a heart attack.
Ah,
And so that's why it's been doctors ever since. I've had a pacemaker, defibrillator, a watchman.
mm,
And so that's why we didn't go down to Florida. We were hoping to go down for a week in May just to check out the house.
yeah. Yeah, my dad's first 89 years were good, and then the last year and a half weren't so good. But
Yeah, he was a fine-looking gentleman, yeah. And he died when he was like 90, 91?
he had just turned 91. He died in April a year ago, and he turned 91 in December.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, if you had asked me when he turned 90, I would have bet more than $5 that he would hit 100.
Yeah, we're
And,
betting that for Mel.
Yeah.
Well, you're not putting a hex on me, are you?
No hexes, no hexes. His big problem was he had macular degeneration, and he could hardly see. So I'm certain there was urine in his blood for some time that he didn't notice. And bladder cancer is very treatable,
Yeah.
but it was well developed by the time they caught it, and there really was nothing that they could do at that point. So.
No.
Here comes Mr. Sociable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Mel was just down to see his GP today.
Yeah.
Everything's stable, right?
Yeah, lots of things wrong, but I'm hanging in there.
Yep. Well, and you both are in excellent shape, and you still have your minds. So that's
That's
Yes.
the best part of it.
yes.
That recall, though, sometimes. You can remember something in the distance, you know. I'm still trying to remember. The other night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I don't know what it was that, you know, you just wake up. And I decided to start, there was this couple, and I couldn't remember their name. And I went, oh my gosh, what's the matter with me? And I know she's blind, and they have a dog, and anyway. So I went through all the names of all our neighbors and all the neighbors over in her, and I still don't know. I keep meaning to go get we have a directory. And that drives you crazy.
Yeah. Well, and when people wearing masks, I'll be at the store and sometimes you don't recognize people.
them. No, I know. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there, I
Yep.
think, don't you?
I think so. Every day a little bit closer. I mean, the numbers in New Hampshire are still high, but more and more people are vaccinated, and so I think the future looks better than the past right now for
Yeah.
COVID at least.
I hope so. This Johnson & Johnson, my brother got a Johnson & Johnson. And
Yeah, our daughter had just gotten one a couple days ago.
She did too. So then she does need to be concerned.
What is-
But there's 6 out of 7 million. I mean,
And I think I heard today that something like 6 out of a million, it was between 3 and 6 out of a million people normally develop a blood clot.
right.
So the number who have received the Johnson is lower than what you would expect
Yeah.
in just a random sample of the population.
Yeah. I was reading in the paper today, some woman she was on her way to get the Johnson & Johnson and heard that, and she's not going to get one now. And I think, oh, that's foolish.
Yeah.
You know, some people are so afraid of needles. Being a nurse, it never bothered me in the least, but I'm amazed at people that are scared to death of a tiny little needle.
Yeah, I you hardly feel it even going in.
No,
Well,
I mean it's.
with diabetes, you get used to it.
Yeah,
Look at the cat. Obviously, isn't intimidated by you at all.
that's good. I don't want to be an intimidating presence. Well, I so appreciate you letting me come on over, and I know that people will look forward to learning a little bit more about both of you.
Well, I thought we had escaped there, and the summer was over, and we hadn't heard anything from you. Because the first ones I saw were Pat and Paul, and they did a real nice job.
Yes. Well, one of the very first ones I did was the Allards.
Oh,
But
did
that
you?
was very, very early.
Okay, I never even saw that
And
one.
I did go inside their house, but most of the ones I did initially, I stood outside.
Yes, I saw you were out like on the deck or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
But I have learned a lot about the different church members doing this, and I hope to continue long after COVID's just a memory.
Yeah, that's a nice way for you to get to know your parishioners. I mean, some of them you know a lot better than others. Like Barbara Allard, you probably know quite a bit of. She's certainly there to. She has been wonderful. Every week calling, anything they could do, da-da-da-da. So it's great people.
Well, Don took me down to Concord a couple of times.
Yeah, because see, for quite a while I couldn't drive. It's my right foot. And in the beginning, I wasn't even sure if I was ever going to be able to drive, because if you look it up on the internet, it goes, if it's your right foot, you probably won't ever drive. And I'm thinking, I have to drive,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
But the doctor said, no, he didn't think that at all, and he was right. But I went for a good 3 months without driving, so when him running to the doctor was kind
She's
of
pretty gloomy.
I bet. Here's my funny Barbara Allard story.
oh, okay.
So she was in the fellowship hall, and I came down the stairway, and she saw me, and she's, oh, Michael!
Yeah,
And I thought, boy, she really likes me.
she does it with everybody.
So 10 minutes later, someone else comes down the stairs. Oh, Mel, I'm so happy to see you.
Yes, that's Barbara. I know it. She always makes you feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's wonderful.
Oh, I have to tell you, is that on or
Yes,
off?
it is. It's on.
Oh,
I can turn it off.
yeah.
Are we done? Okay, thanks so much.